Hello everyone, welcome back to JMH Top 10. I'm Mason, and today we are counting down the top 10 best instruments ever. Now, quick disclaimer, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew this. This is out of personal preference, personal opinion, right? This is just what I like. Just so you know, I'm more of like a 90s alternative, kind of, 70s rockish kind of fan. I like those kind of music, like Nirvana, Green Day, Metallica, even some AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, all that good stuff. So, the newer generation doesn't really know what that is, mostly. But, I grew up, my dad playing all this music in the car, so it kind of got to me. Anyways, that's kind of my preference, so this is going to be a lot of, instruments used in that type of music. But this is just my opinion, okay? So, don't go and judge in the comment section and be like, hey, that's so wrong. The oboe should have been first. So, I just want to let you guys know that before we start. All right, here we go. Number 10 is the harp. So the harp, I think, is a pretty cool instrument. Never played it myself, but I've seen people play it. I'm sure you guys know what it is. It's like this big arched thing with a bunch of strings hanging, like kind of the way you play a cello sort of thing, but instead it's just got a bunch of strings and you don't put your fingers, there's no frets or anything, you just pluck like individual strings, and there's a lot of them. So it might be a little bit easier than like guitar or stuff like that, or bass, or it might be a little bit harder. I'm not sure, but it definitely sounds beautiful, and depending on how you play it, I'm pretty sure it seems like a difficult instrument. So maybe something I would get into in the future. Number 9, we have viola. Now, violas are great instruments. I really like them. My friend Jay plays the viola in our schools for a school instrument, and I got to try it out a few times. I thought it was awesome. So it's basically an octave higher than the cello. It plays on all 4 of its strings. Viola, in case you didn't know, is just like a violin. You hold it, when the thing is placed in your neck, facing your neck, and then you got your hands around the frets, and then you're bowing, kind of like around your neck sort of thing. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm sure people have seen clips of people playing violins or violas before. But yeah, it's a great instrument. The strings instruments just sound great, like when they're being bowed, and the vibrato and all that stuff. Everything's just great. So yeah, violas sound beautiful. And moving on. So number 8 is flute. Now, I think flutes are really cool. And wait, stop, alert. I want to make sure everyone knows this. A flute is not a recorder, okay? I'll put up a picture of a recorder. There, right there. That's a picture of a recorder, okay? That is not, okay, and here's a flute, okay? I'm going to put up a flute on the screen in 3, 2, 1, okay? That's a flute. You blow into from the side to make the sound. And I don't know how many kids that came up to me while I'm playing my recorder and been like, "Is that a flute you're playing there?" No, it's not. It's not a flute. Okay, it's a recorder. Anyways, flutes just have a beautiful sound. They're play it a lot around the world. Peaceful kind of meditation music and stuff like that is really good for. And they can also play it for like stage band stuff and everything. It just has a beautiful high-pitched sound, and I love them. So moving on. Number 7 is the trumpet. So I think trumpets are awesome. Like, they date back a long time, and trumpets just have the coolest sounds. We're kind of moving into brass type of thing now. Harp is obviously strings. Viola, I'm just going to count back down. Viola is strings too. Flute is woodwind, and trumpet is brass. So trumpets just sound awesome. I think you guys can agree. You can do like the battle music on there, or whatever. They can be played in several different ways. Like I said with the flute, they can be played in like a stage band form or like a war chant or something. It could be anything. Could be anything at all. So we have, let me see here, number 6 is the saxophone, or otherwise known as sax for short. So saxes, believe it or not, are in the woodwind category, even though I think they should be in the brass category because they're made of brass or whatever. But I guess they used to be made out of wood, so they're still in the woodwind category, but I think they sound more like a brass instrument depending on how you play it. So I've never actually tried a saxophone. A lot of these instruments I've never actually tried. I've tried the viola before. I've tried the flute. I've tried the and then a few more that'll come up. I'll let you know if I've tried them or not. But the saxophone just has a great sound. You can play some. It's really good for jazz or blues and stuff like that. It's amazing. It's great instrument for that type of thing. Jazz and whatnot. It just has a exquisite sound when it comes to that type of stuff. And no, I'm not making up my own vocabulary. So I'm trying to sound more intelligent, but I'm really not that intelligent at all. So just so you know. Anyways, moving on, we have for number 5 the cello. So I play cello in my school for my school instrument. So cellos are just great. I started off on the violin, but I wanted to switch to cello because I thought they were so cool, and just the way you can play them and the low pitched sound. They've been in a lot of rock songs too, like the White Snake introduced some cello. Some, Bittersweet Symphony, Verve, all that stuff. Really, really, really good. And obviously, they can be played for orchestra music, as the viola can too, because, that's what they're more popular for, the orchestra. I don't really know. I'm just kind of humming random tunes or going. So, just ignore that. Anyways, moving on. Number 4, we have violin. So, I think violins are very, intelligent instruments. If violins were humans, they'd be like the fancy, smart one that's always correcting people on their vocabulary and whatnot and on their grammar. Like, oh, you're supposed to do that instead. And, because their violins just sound so great. And if they were people, I think they would be kind of braggy. Like, oh, I sound so good, because the people who play violins are like, oh, yes, I just love my violin. Oh, they sound so great. Who really cares? I think everyone knows how great violins sound. You don't have to ask them how great they think it sounds, because they hear it all the time. I'm sorry, I'm just talking about some of my personal experience. There's a few people in my class that play violin all the time, and they're like, listen to that sound. It's so great. And I'm like, I get it. But anyways, violins just sound beautiful with the humming and the high-pitched notes with, yet again, the vibrato sounds great with it, or pizzicato, where you're just plucking the strings. It can be used for so many different things, a violin. It can be used in more popular pop songs, or, obviously orchestra music, other stuff like that. It's just great. And that's it for the violin, so here we go. Number 3, we have bass. And you guys are probably just like, bass, well, what bass do you mean? Because there's so many type of bass things. I mean bass guitar. No, don't get me wrong, the double bass or the big bass that's like a giant cello that you play, I like those. I mean, they're not on my list, but I like those. Bass guitars, I just think are amazing. You can slap bass or whatever, the boom, ba-da-boom, boom, ba-dum, boom, or you can just, there's so many things you can do with bass. It's just great. I'm in a band, so, and I don't play bass, but I just admire the bass, how they keep the rhythm with the boom, 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 boom. It's so awesome. I love bass so much. So, great sound, and they can be used for so many different things. They have 4 strings, just like violin, cello, all that stuff, viola. But you're supposed to pluck them. You can't bow a bass guitar. They have to be plucked, and it's just so great. There's so many things you can do with a bass guitar. So coming in at number 2, we have drums, and drums are also a very specific word, not a very specific word, because it's kind of like, what drums do you mean? I mean like drum kits. Like I said before, I'm in a band, obviously, so I like these more, and it's yet again personal preference. So don't go spamming, hey, the drums shouldn't be second best, they're not great. But let me tell you why I think drums are great. Drums, like every good song, or most good songs, have to have drums. Like, I get it when you're talking about like Landslide, Smashing Pumpkins or whatever, stuff like that. Sometimes like a soul ballad doesn't really need drums. It can just be like an acoustic guitar and singing, and that's great and everything. But I just think drums are amazing. They can be used so much. If you want a good example of drums, I want you to go over to either one of these 2 songs. So, Credit goes to Black Sabbath for this one, War Pigs. Go search that up and listen to that song. And oh my gosh, the drums are amazing in it. You have to kind of listen a little bit longer, but great band. I saw them this summer actually. And then the second one, you can look up Metallica, Master of Puppets. Amazing drums. So, and that's in the sense of like really heavy metal drums, but that's great too because you can do so many things with drums. Be like all types of music genres. Drums are there, right? They're every music genre has introduced drums in some way, or at least I'm pretty sure, most at least, because drums just keep the beat, and they're so amazing how you can play them. And I play drums personally, and I think drums are just great. So there we go. And moving on to the final instrument, in my view, the best instrument in the world. But before we do this, I want to make sure you guys subscribe and leave a like and, do all that good stuff. And then leave a comment down below if you think there's anything that you want us to go over in one of our next videos. If you leave a comment in my section saying, hey, Mason, do one of these, then I will be sure to, I'll try and do that in the next video that I'm around. So, if we do end up getting popular and there's so many comments, we might not be able to keep up with it and read them all, or, we'd have to probably pick one. But for now, I think there's, we'd be lucky if there's one person commenting and saying, hey, do this. But, we'll grow, and that's great. So, yeah, make sure to leave some support. That would be much appreciated, and here we go. So, number one is guitar. Now, yes, they're great. I love guitars so much. Electric guitars, let's say. We'll put in like a 1.5, I guess, as acoustic guitars because they're great. But I'm talking mainly electric guitars. They are just so great. You could do so many things with them. 6 strings. Most of them have like over 20 frets. That you could different notes on each string and all that stuff. There can be like some shredder tapping guitar where you go like if you want to see some of that, go over to Van Halen, Eruption, and listen to that guitar solo. And then it's also Eruption / You Really Got Me. That's the actual song, but the guitar solo at the beginning, they named it Eruption. That's how important it was. They had to name the guitar solo. It's at the very beginning. Listen to that, and you'll see what I mean. It's just it's incredible. I play guitar myself, and that's why I play in my band. And I've been playing guitar since I was like 4. So, I'm pretty experienced. I guess you could call me an expert, but I don't want to be too cocky. I love playing guitar so much. I'll put up a picture of my guitar. It's an Ibanez ART 100 S series. That is right there that you're looking at. That's a really good guitar. I like it. I also like Gibsons, Fenders, obviously, Stratocasters and stuff like that. But that picture, that's the guitar that I have, and I'll try and find a picture of it in black because that's the exact model that I have. So yeah, I just think guitars are great, and they can be used in so many ways, and they're just great to play for ballads or heavy metal, whatever you're into. I'm sure you can find some guitar to fit in for it because, guitar is just great, and it's such an emotional instrument. Depending on the way you play it, right? It's pretty difficult to learn, but once you got it, you can play so many things. So that pretty much ends it for our countdown of the top 10 instruments ever. And remember, one more time, I'm just going to let you guys know this was my view. So if you want to let me know, like in the comments or whatever, what you thought should have been, or if there's something that I left out that you thought should have been in there, then go ahead and do that. Just nothing too mean. Like, go easy on me, guys, okay? So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to JMH Top 10. I'm Mason, and today we are counting down the top 10.